well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan, so let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And
that is amazing. He's like, yeah, I'm shaking, thinking, who do I get in contact with? And I think to myself, got to give this to the FBI. But then I'm like, no, f the FBI. Sean Ryan is the guy. Under no circumstance.
Sam Shoemate, welcome to the show, man.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm nervous about this one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really nervous about this one. So yesterday I come into work and our stuff's been exploding because of the Sarah Adams, had Sarah Adams, Scott Mann, legend, did an interview with Masood, kind of warning everybody about it's going to be a lot of terrorism here in 2025. Didn't take long. Jan 1, it hit. And, you know, it's interesting. We couldn't get any mainstream media's outlets to pay attention to those interviews. And nobody would really give Sarah a voice. Now everybody wants to.
Dude, we're going to get so crazy in 2025. That's one prediction. Okay, lock it down. If you think 2024 was riddled with silly conspiracies, you have seen nothing yet. 2025 is going to be so crazy. It's going to make 2024 look normal. Like everything in 2024 that people thought were happening, that we thought was insane, is going to seem tame.
To give Sarah a voice because, oh, guess what? The CIA targeter was actually right. Mainstream media gave her no attention. So that's been going crazy. I come in yesterday and for an interview, the first thing I do is talk to my producer, Jeremy, and he says that he's been in contact with you and that you had received some type of manifesto or email from the Green Beret that set off the car at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
Right.
Jump in an interview and come out. My phone is blown up. Apparently CID, Army CID, which is, how would you describe it? It's like it's
FBI light.
Yeah.
They are federal
like
agents, but yeah,
the Army's FBI.
Yeah.
I get all these messages from these people that say CID is talking to this person and that person, and one of these guys on the list is still operational, and they want his name redacted. And every Green Beret I know is texting me about this. It's really freaked me out, man. It was like, well, how did this leak? Who's tracking my phone? All that kind of stuff. So I just want to say thank you for being here because I was eavesdropping in on that conversation you had with Jeremy, and this is a big story, man. This is big.
Yeah, it is.
Real big. And so thank you for being here.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
But I do, before we get too heavy, I got some gifts for you.
Oh,
there you go.
Excellent.
So we're talking.
thank God. I was worried that they wouldn't maintain operational procedure here. Thank God they still have gifts for one another. Thank God.
People monitoring the phone. Have you heard the unplugged phone?
Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to purchase this phone, you can get it at unplugged.com/Sean Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, it's an ad.
So that the unplugged phone keeps big tech.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He's just doing an ad for, this is like, okay, right off the jump, couple red flags. This strikes me as the Alex Jones style procedure where I feel like this is the Alex Jones method, you know, talk about how the water is turned into freaking frogs gay and then immediately sell a straw in the commercial break. I feel as though this is basically exactly that. He's doing that with more credibility than Alex Jones, though.
For monitoring your texts and your calls, there's a secure messaging app in there. There's a secure email. So get that thing wired up, and
Absolutely.
let's talk on that from now on. So,
Okay.
And then everybody gets a bag of these.
Been waiting for this.
Nice.
This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Very cool.
But all right, let's dive into it. This is going to be kind of tough. I didn't have, like I said, I was interviewing yesterday, so we're kind of winging it here.
Yeah.
But, so before we jump in, I just want to say a couple things about today. And we're not necessarily validating what came in on that email. There's some pretty alarming stuff that came out in the email about the drones that we're seeing on the East Coast and some capabilities that China has, some capabilities that we have, some activity that went on in Afghanistan in 2019, which actually we do have news reports that is valid. A lot of this stuff actually really lines up. but we can't give it 100% credibility.
Right.
I think you would agree with that as an intelligence analyst.
100%.
And then additionally, there are a few names, two, I believe, that we are redacting from this because they are still operational. And as much as I would love to release those names, we're not gonna do it so that those guys can remain undercover and not burn their entire operation of what they're into right now. And there was one more.
This is basically this. The audience of this podcast is Tom Clancy novel readers. Okay.
More thing. I want to give a little background on you. Retired from the Army in 2023 as a CW2 intelligence officer and understand the information war. In 2020, you were still on active duty. You started a social media account where you intended to share memes and GIFs. Despite your intentions, the account grew into what it is today. You've developed, what is the account's name?
It's an Instagram account, goes by Terminal CWO.
Terminal CWO. You've developed a robust network of service members across the Department of Defense who trust you with their reports of unethical and in some cases illegal behavior from their leaders. You expose the unethical and illegal behavior while protecting whistleblowers in order to hold military leaders accountable, which is why you received the email from the Green Beret. And because of your background, you come across wild information all the time. You're here today because of an email you received from Matthew Livelsberger a couple of days before the Cybertruck at Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. You'll also be able to discuss what you know about the terrorists who conducted the New Orleans attack. Did I miss anything?
No, that sums it up. Okay. I'll give a background on why that's significant so your viewers understand how this came into my inbox.
Perfect. One other thing that I just wanted to say to the audience is even though we are redacting these names from the episode, you passed that, I believe you passed that email on to the FBI.
Yes.
We're also going to pass it on to our contacts at the FBI. It's very obvious that people know it. Like I said, the CID has been telling everybody. In fact, we talked to Jeremy, who's sitting over there, my producer, me, him, and my attorney, Tim Parlatore. We're up till about 10:30 last night talking to the...
10:30 is not even that late. What? Is he one of those like early risers? Is that what it is? Is this Sigma grind set? He's like, I've tactically decided to stay way past my nap time. That's right. We decided that it was important and pertinent for the public to have access tactically to this knowledge that we have ascertained as verifiable evidence of a mass plot happening. I'm never going to stop tactical. I'm never going to stop cop speak. I love it too much and I need to get better at it because I feel like if I do tactical speak, maybe I can get out of a ticket or something.
Chief of Staff?
The Army Chief of Staff POA.
The Army Chief of Staff's POA took a major interest in this as well. And, you know, one of the things that he said, I'll wait till later to bring that up, but I don't know. I don't trust any of these people. I mean, public affairs officers are there to...
I'll keep my mouth.
Create
is there to protect the command.
Yeah.
100%, nothing else.
Yeah.
They're not there to shed transparency on anything. They're there to protect the command.
Let's recreate what the story is. But and you know what's interesting? I'm just going to say it. You know what he said? He goes on the call. He said, I didn't talk to him. I didn't want to talk to him. So had them talk to him. He said, between me and you guys, this guy's DNA didn't match his son. And made it sound like it's some big secret. Then at 9:34 p.m., I think it was 9:34 p.m., the New York Post had a headline that said that so they're trying to make it sound like this guy did this because maybe he found out the son wasn't his. But there's a lot more to the story as we'll find out. So,
yeah.
So let's go to you, Sam. Tell me how you got the email.
All right. So for context, I've run this account for the last 4.5 years. There have been people in and out writing articles and different stuff and just investigations, some big, some small, just trying to keep accountability in the military, but developed a robust network within the military, all branches, and people feed into this and send me messages and here and there. Nothing ever like this has ever come in. But well, it started off as comments. So when you have a big Instagram account, you're going to miss a lot of messages because people message, go to hidden messages and everything else. You miss a lot of stuff. Well, I kept seeing this comment on recent posts that I put in there and it was from this burner account that said, hey, check your DMs, check your DMs, check your DMs. So I go in there and try to find it. There's no message from this guy, hadn't come through or whatever. And then he messages again once that message was opened up.
Are you telling me an operator who spent most of his time overseas had a wife who had sex with another man? Oh my God. What a random and unique tale What? That's crazy. Surely this is the first time such a thing has taken place.
And I said, hey, your previous messages haven't come through. What do you want to tell me? And he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words. What I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity. Okay, a little bit dramatic. I get these messages all the time. People have this big story they want to tell. They want to expose their command, whatever. I take everything with a grain of salt until I have evidence and proof. So this guy is insistent. He tells me that he is a 18 Zulu who I've spoken to before, and he really needs to get this stuff to me. And then he talks about you. He says, I need you to get me in contact with Sean Ryan. I'm like, dude, I don't know Sean Ryan. I'm not that big. But diverted to media sources, says go to Fox News, whatever else. And I said, all right, tell me what you got. So I give him my Proton email account, give him my signal number. And he reaches out immediately. And I'm going to read this initial message for you because this doesn't have names or anything else on it. But this was his message on Sunday. He reached out and said, like I said, this last Sunday, he said, sending with a VPN active on Wi-Fi only. Do not message me. I will send out updates via both signal and email. But trust me, you're going to want to be involved. Well, first of all, no, I didn't want to be involved. Anyways. And then, so I didn't message. I responded back to his original Instagram message. And I said, hey, I got your message on Proton Mail. And he said, cool, delete this. So I deleted it. That's how I ended up getting this message on Tuesday. So the message that this right here, this manifesto, if you want to call it that, came in on Tuesday. And when I started reading this, my initial take was, okay, this is off the deep end. It's bonkers. I can't validate or verify any of the stuff in this manifesto. Mm-hmm. And I told him that in a subsequent email. And I'll read that to you later, my response to him. And once again, my response to him elicited, hey, get me in contact with Sean Ryan, Fox News, and he even said Pete Hegseth. Get me in contact with Hegseth. I'm like, dude, I don't have the incoming Secretary of Defense's phone number. Sorry, bro. That's the last time I talked to him.
Sean's like, I do.
So yesterday morning.
What date was that?
That was Tuesday. That was this Tuesday. So we're Friday now. That was 3 days ago.
So
the day before.
30th?
Yeah, the day before the attack. I dismissed the stuff out of hand.
The 31st. It was on the 31st.
Yes. In fact, I posted something on and I told your producer about this as well. But this was a post I made on Twitter. I was just trying to be humorous, off the cuff. It didn't mean anything about it. I was just being humorous for my audience. I said, my inbox was especially eventful today. Allegations of war crimes, government anti-gravity technology, and fears about being tracked and watched by the feds. It's always, the world is ending and I have this information that needs to get to the media, and never, how you doing, bro?
I like that on his face, he made fun of this guy. Understandably so, because it sounds like the ramblings of a madman. But post-mortem, now that it's a big story and it lands him on the Sean Ryan podcast, he's going to sit there and act like everything he said was totally fucking verifiable. That's crazy. Like when he first got the message, he was like, okay, dude, chill. For understandable reasons. Like that is the normal first reaction to a guy who's like, only us in China have access to like alien style anti-gravity technology. And it's the Chinese that are launching drones on the East Coast. And once the guy turns around and says, no, I am that fucking dude. I am that crazy. And he blows himself up. Only after he's like, oh, never mind. I think this is real.
Brother, everything all right? I was just playing off of a meme. Mm-hmm. It was just supposed to be a joke. That was the body of his email that he sent me. And I didn't think anything about it. I didn't know who Matt Berg was, Matt Livelsberg, or anything else. He told me who he was in the email. He pointed me to his LinkedIn account. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I was just kind of being humorous with my audience. Like, I get these crazy messages sometime. And then the day after that message, I wake up and my buddy was like, hey, Sam, nobody in the community seems to know this guy. Do you happen to know who he is? And I played that for you before we came up here. Just absolute shock. That's how I woke up yesterday.
Do you want to play it now?
Yeah. Excuse my language. I was definitely in shock. Let me find this chat. So,
No, while you're digging through that, you know what we should do? I should get that Instagram account from you to see if they messaged any of our Instagram accounts. And we should also get that email address.
I deleted it.
You deleted it?
He told me to delete it and I deleted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should also get that email address and see if they sent it into the sent it in through the website and see if he tried to contact us. Get that to the FBI.
So I'm in a military.
Hopefully they actually do something.
Yeah, I'm in a military group chat. Buddy Green Beret, Corey, he says, at Sam. Nobody I've asked in the community knows him. You is at 8:46 a.m. yesterday. So I woke up and I said, OF, I'm shaking. This guy emailed me 2 days ago. I'm not playing. And then he said, damn. And then this was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
Dude, I'm fucking shaking, bro.
Wait, was that Mike Malak? What the fuck? Cybertruck attacker note release? Dog, we are literally watching what people are alleging is the note. This is the manifesto. The note is something else. Wait, there's a note. I saw on TikTok. Oh my God.
You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a VBID. I'm not fucking playing, dude. I have the email. I'm shaking, man. This is nuts.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan. So let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And
That is amazing. He's like, yeah, I'm shaking, thinking, who do I get in contact with? And I think to myself, got to give this to the FBI. But then I'm like, no, fuck the FBI. Sean Ryan is the guy. Under no circumstance do we think that the guy who exploded his Cybertruck could potentially be mentally not all there. That's what I love about the story in general, is that not a single person is going, hey, hold up, maybe the fucking 15-year touring special forces operator who had a litany of, complications at home could potentially be, I don't know, mind broken. No. We only thought that before he blew himself up. Now that he blew himself up, it seems that he had actually arrived at anti-gravity technology.
I had a buddy who knew your producer, and we went from there. But
Wow. Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons.
Chinese weather balloon veers off course due to limited capabilities of navigation. And this guy is literally saying that the balloon was actually a show of force by China. Tactical Talk is making this so epic. Yeah. Tactical Talk always makes things more epic and cool.
In the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBID. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive VBID. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a VBID was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice, and he goes, you said that word.
Are you serious? They didn't know what a vehicular borne improvised explosive device means? These goddamn lawyers, I hate the FBI. They're not the doorbusters like we are. Yee. Goddamn suits. It must be the DEI in the FBI that caused them to not know what a VBID is. God damn it. I'm pissed off. These freaking suits, man. They're all lawyers, the lot of them. They don't know how to do real work, real operator work. Unlike my boy, Matthew Leifesberger.
VBID. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a VBID, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a VBID is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive VBID. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff. And this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of CIVCAS, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with Redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Redacted commander at the time. Redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Littlesberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? Hegseth would be good too. That was his last message to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, what is a gravitic propulsion system?
To be honest with you, it is a fancy term you're going to find in science fiction. You won't find it in any, as far as I know, you won't find this in any kind of official manual or, scientific research. This is all science fiction. So, but what struck me is his use, what strikes me now, not then, but what strikes me now is his use of a very specific term that nobody else call it. If you asked me, I would say an anti-gravity propulsion system. That's how I would describe it because I don't know this stuff. He said gravitic propulsion system.
We looked that up last night too, and all we could find was same thing, science fiction type stuff. But, there are some things that line up. One is, like I'd mentioned, well, let's talk about the guy's story. Obviously, he had a VBID. Obviously, he was in the military and served. And the thing that he was talking about in 2019, we pulled a report. This is from October 9th, 2019. UN report find alleged drug facilities were not lawful target airstrikes caused significant civilian casualties. The United Nations Special Report, which examines the impact on civilians of the United States airstrikes on alleged drug processing facilities on 5 May 2019 in Afghanistan, determines the operation caused a large number of civilian casualties. The report also examines the legal framework applicable to this incident. In June 2019, the UN Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, together with representatives of the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, conducted a site visit to areas impacted by the strikes in Farah Province, Bakwa District, as part of its extensive fact-finding into the 5 May incident. The UN verified 39 civilian casualties, among them 14 children, 1 woman, from multiple airstrikes on more than 60 sites that the United States Afghanistan identified as drug production facilities in Bakwa District and in parts of neighboring Delaram District of Nimraz Province.
They were eliminating the competition, dude. They were like, only we get to produce drugs in Afghanistan, you sons of bitches. What do you think you're doing?
Moreover, the UN is working to verify credible reports of at least 37.
Yeah. Also, the DA wasn't actually wasn't Afghanistan. I know. I'm not joking when I say only we, JSOC. When I say we, I mean JSOC. Only we get to produce opium in Afghanistan, not you. Suspiciously, none of it makes its way to the United States of America. We have our own version of the fentanyl crisis, obviously, which is really damaging. And weirdly enough, none of the opiates grown in Afghanistan before the Taliban takeover, okay, because from what I understand, they stopped the opium production and it went down dramatically, but none of that made its way into the United States of America and only made its way into Europe. All the opium that came into the European marketplace, all the heroin that came into the European marketplace was actually Afghan-produced opium. So, having said that, could the part of him talking about covering up war crimes in Afghanistan be real? Yeah, no shit. I do think that it's probably real. Because that part is like adding on additional seasoning to a completely improvised, insane conspiracy theory, and then ending it with, and I drove a car. That is so commonplace and so normal that it is the same as him saying, to verify, I also have, my first car was a Mustang V6 in 2006. It's like, yeah, I get that. It's the sandwich technique. place two different correct things and then, you know, slam the middle of the sandwich with insane nonsense.
7 additional civilian casualties, the majority of whom were women and children. Although airstrikes on the alleged drug taken place before, this was the first time that UNAMA had received reports of large number of civilian casualties resulting from such an operation. And it goes on. I'm not going to read all this. We'll link the article here. But so that 100% lines up. The other thing, you know, that really struck me is, like I'd mentioned, after our phone call, jumped in an interview after the interview.
If we find out that GravTech is there and that's what the orbs are, you're so cooked, bro. I mean, dude, I'll gladly say I'm wrong. So you believe this part, but not his work on drones and what he's seen? No, I'm the one who brought up that he was supposedly working on drones in Germany. I don't know why a special forces guy would be working on drones. It's not like he has an engineering background. He's just a fucking doorbuster, but
checked my phone, and I had several Green Berets, former Green Berets, one still active. Actually, I'm just going to say it was Tim Kennedy.
This guy, wait, he just keeps revealing. He's like, I'm not going to say it. Fuck it. I'm going to say it. Tim Kennedy.
Sent me a message late last night about 9 p.m. and said, hey, I should have brought my phone up here, but hey, basically that use of...
Didn't Tim Kennedy just recently get outed for just like also being a fabulist? It's so funny because like virtually all these guys that write books about like their exploits almost always come out to be lying. They're serial exaggerators. Mick Huya is another great example. Sean O'Neill, who weirdly follows me. I don't know why.
SOC wants to give me more context on what had happened on this guy. And so first I wasn't going to take the call because I don't trust the government anymore. I don't think anybody does. But I was on the phone with my producer, who was a naval surface warfare officer, and my attorney, Tim Parlatore. They said we should talk to him. So I called Tim, was really pissed off, reamed his ass about it, and then later apologized. But, you know, I think you said you had mentioned that you had received a message from somebody that says nobody's heard of this guy. Tim sent me a picture of him shooting with this guy. And I don't know if I should release that photo or not, but Tim...
He's like, but I don't give a shit.
Tim basically told me this. So I got the POA's number, the public affairs officer, sent it to Jeremy and Tim. He talked to them. And what they wanted us to know was that this guy was an upstanding soldier, an excellent operator, was moving on, was moving towards retirement and moving on to basically enhance the future of warfare. They wanted us to know that. Then the PA officer, sounds like almost jokingly said, which I don't know why you would joke about this, said that, oh, and between us, which why the fuck would a POA officer say between us? I mean, if they didn't want us to know that information, then they just wouldn't have told us that. But they wanted us to know, obviously, that the DNA with his supposed child was not a match. And so I think what they were trying to do is basically make this out to be, oh, this is why this happened. He got bad news that that's not his child.
What's really interesting and funny about podcasts like Sean Ryan's and all these like ex-CIA guys, they're popping lately. They're all over the place, is that I just don't trust them at all. I feel like if there's a guy who's still a Fed, it's these guys. This way they get to capture the attention of a lot of the conspiratorial minded people. Okay. And then just like steer them in whichever direction the federal government thinks is an appropriate vector for conspiratorial mindset. And not like dangerous things that are actually dangerous for the federal government. Like there's no way you can convince me that a guy who's like worked with the CIA is like a contractor is just now a former Fed who hates the government. I just don't believe it. I don't trust anything that these guys say, which is funny because all of those like cynical conspiracy brained guys who traffic in a number of different rabid conspiracies will literally just only listen to these dudes and think these guys are the bravest truth tellers out there. And it's like, dude, if you're a conspiracy guy and you're skeptical of the government, why would you ever consider a Fed to be a truthful person? I will never understand that. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. I think it's very strange.
And so that's why he did it. But with all the other context,
Don't you think this show so far is just LARP? I think it's half LARP and no, it's there's a lot of LARP for sure.
especially with the 2019 incident, which was obviously a cover up, I think that has a major role in this. The other thing is,
Because we already have a track record of what happens when you are a real whistleblower. Okay, you don't have to look any further. One of them has been on my broadcast, Chelsea Manning, and the other is not allowed on U.S. soil, Edward Snowden. Okay, when you're an actual whistleblower, you face tremendous repercussions. You don't get to go on a freaking podcast. You get killed by Boeing or you get killed by ChatGPT, allegedly. You know, you either die mysteriously and the coroner rules your death a suicide by gunshot, 8 shots to the back of your head. That's the way. That's your method of execution. I mean, not execution, your method of suicide. Or you have to live your life in exile in Russia. Or you have to live in a consulate building in a non-extradition country for the rest of your life as they openly fantasize about executing you and only let you live basically, many, many years after they've ruined your life. Julian Assange. So I don't know. I feel like if you're like a real whistleblower, opening the book on these government conspiracies, shining a light on these government conspiracies, you're not going to have one of the most popular podcasts out there. The only person I will say that, I trust, despite their background of being around federal, being around the CIA and being trained by the American military, is Brace Belden, as he did, go to Rojava. So, of course, in that time frame, I'm sure that there were members of the CIA and the American government that trained him, but I still trust them. No, I'm saying you're saying in Chelsea, but no, Chelsea served her time. That's different. I'm saying Brace didn't get into any problems. Well, I guess Brace wasn't really a whistleblower either. He's not a whistleblower at all.
I started receiving a lot of messages from one of the redacted names, who's a DEA agent, the one that he's talking about in the email to you. We got it from multiple sources, one of which was actually a videographer for me, I think 4 years ago. He worked for me a very short period of time. I had to let him go. He joined the Army, went to OCS, became an Army officer, sent me a text, super freaked out. Apparently he was on some rafting trip with somebody that knows the DEA officer and said, hey, this guy's still operational. He wants his name redacted.
Wow.
Not the only one. Then I received a message from another very close friend of mine who's been on the show several times saying that he got word that this guy was still operational. And so that's why we decided to redact his name. I was getting upset because I didn't receive any communication up to that point. Well, then I checked my LinkedIn. I said, let me see if this guy actually messaged me. Sure as shit, that DEA agent did message me, said that he wanted to talk to me before tomorrow's interview. It was really important.
Wow.
We tried to contact him, not from my phone. I'm not calling any of these people, but from somebody else's phone. He didn't pick up, and we weren't going to send any text thread to show any communication between us any more than the LinkedIn message. And I didn't hit him on LinkedIn. So that also 100% checks out. Now, the weird thing is anonymous as this guy wants to remain, if I remember correctly, he posted something about the Green Beret that set the bomb off.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that was his latest post. Well, Jeremy, what was it? What did the post?
And it was just a report of the story.
It was just a report of the story. So very interesting how all this stuff is lining up. What do you think?
I told the guys downstairs, I jokingly said this to my wife the day that I got that email, because I read the email to her. You all have heard the email now. You realize without context of who this person is, how just crazy it sounds. And I told her, I said, well, I mean, I guess if the dude ends up getting rolled up by the feds or he gets killed, we got a story, huh? Man, famous last words, right?
That's your speculate, dude. Like, no, one, it still sounds just as crazy, and two, you're betraying the severity and the veracity of the email, the contents of the email, by saying you only care about the story element of it. Because if you truly thought what he was saying is true, you're like, dude, The government has anti-gravity technology that they're hiding. And double dude, China also has it, and they're deploying drones on U.S. soil. Clearly, even you don't believe, even now, what the contents of that email was. This is what I don't understand. Elon called you a stupid idiot? Oh, hell yeah. Do we get, what did he say? Here, give me roll the clip.